Okay, good day and welcome. Today we will be discussing what constitutes the ideal history teacher. Okay, I'm just going to take you through our main points. All right, so we'll be discussing what does it mean to be the ideal history teacher. Okay, next we'll be discussing the ideal history teacher's classroom. Okay, what does it look like? Classroom design, layout, how we should lay it out, and should we keep it that way, things like that. Okay, after that, which methods a good history teacher will use, okay, and maybe not use. Next, we will be discussing the ideal history teacher in a South African context and what it means to be a good history teacher in our modern technological world. Okay, so let's dive in. The ideal history teacher. Okay, what qualities does he or she have? An education and adequate teacher training. Okay, and not just initial teacher training, but ongoing training and equipping. Okay, as a history teacher, you need to be educated. We need to be well trained to work with students and also educated in our subject, okay, in history. Okay, next we need to be passionate, okay? A history teacher is passionate about history, okay, and generally about people too, and devoted to his students as well. Okay, as a history teacher, it is a vast subject. We need to have a vast content knowledge. Okay, so it is a must for a history teacher to not only have knowledge on the specific topic they are teaching, but broader knowledge about all the connecting topics and a good sense of world history as well. Okay, the next thing is a good history teacher will use self-reflection, okay, as a tool to stay motivated and passionate, to better understand the different roles that they have as a teacher, and in order to assess their methods continually and improve their teaching, okay? Okay, and with that, a good history teacher will have the desire to keep growing in knowledge and in their training. Okay, lastly, the ideal history teacher is confident in how she teaches and understands her students and can give reasons for the way she has planned. Okay, so we plan pedagogically, okay? We give reasons for the way we have planned our lessons and tailored them to the needs of our students. All right, next let's look at classroom layout and design. Okay, you can see some pictures that I have here. This is not necessarily the perfect layout, it's just some examples. There's a semicircle one at the top. In the middle, it's cut out a little bit, but it's a horseshoe design with the teacher in the middle somewhere so that everybody's got a good view. And then at the bottom, this is quite a nice history classroom. There's a big world map that everyone can see. There's clocks on the wall with different time zones of different places, okay? But what should a history teacher's classroom look like? Okay, please do have some interesting historical artifacts in your classroom that you have collected along the way, found at certain gift stores or things like that. It just makes learning tangible for the students. Little things that you've collected that pertain to some parts of your curriculum, okay? It just makes it interesting. Okay, the classroom should be a safe and open learning environment, a place where learners can ask questions, engage openly and critically with the subject without fear of being judged or mocked or their questions feeling a bit silly. A place where you are not simply rushing through the curriculum, but there's time to discuss and debate certain topics and viewpoints. Okay. And also a place where they feel that you care, you as the teacher care about them and even their personal lives. Okay, the layout and design must be open to change, unless you are working at a school where everything is fixed to the floor, the tables and the chairs. Be flexible with your layout. If you are doing group work, you can orientate the desks and the chairs to suit that agenda. If There is an assessment. Rows work better, so you could lay out your desks in rows. Similarly, if you are doing an activity where they have to work individually and have a quiet environment, rows are also better. Take note of where certain dead spots in the classroom are, maybe where they can't hear well, or they can't see the board well, or see you well because of a glare. Okay, be open to change. Okay, your layout should encourage both collaboration amongst the students, and it should be a calm environment where learning takes place. Okay, we want collaboration, we want discussion, but we do not want chaos in a classroom. We want an atmosphere where students respect each other and the different ways in which people learn. Okay, all right, so that brings us on to our methods. Okay, the ideal history teacher's methods will promote collaboration and critical thinking. Okay, so we are going to employ teaching methods that probe students to think a bit further, to question, to challenge ideas, okay? And also that would promote collaboration between the students as well. Okay, our methods should vary. Not all students are the same. Not all of them learn through just reading information given to them. Some of them do. So we should vary our methods and tailor them so that each student is getting an opportunity to learn in the best way that they learn. Okay, we should draw interest and motivate our students. Okay, make it interesting for all of them and keep them motivated. Okay, and we need to develop students' knowledge and their personal skills. So obviously their knowledge on history, we are responsible for developing that. But as a teacher, we are also responsible for developing their personal skills. Okay, how to interact with other people properly, how to work as a team, skills that are going to, how to work with IT, skills that are going to benefit them truly in their workplaces one day. Okay. And lastly, it should involve ongoing assessment. Okay, so little ways that we assess that they are understanding what we are teaching, understanding aspects of the curriculum. Okay, so the ideal history teacher in a South African context. Okay, specific to our country. Okay, in our country, social cohesion is important because of our social inequalities and injustices that happened in the past. Okay, so it is our responsibility. We are bringing history across, and it is our responsibility as history teachers to promote social cohesion, okay, among the learners. So the teacher's agency is crucial to developing values of mutual respect and tolerance. Okay. It is difficult to be unbiased, but a history teacher should not allow his bias to affect his teaching. Okay, a teacher's ability to mitigate an inequality and reduce violence. Okay, we need to be able to promote peace and social cohesion in different contexts. We need to help learners engage with the past injustices in a true and real way, and the healing and forgiveness processes that took place afterwards, so that they are brought full circle through our country's history, our country's complicated history, and there is a peace at the end. Okay, we need to be unbiased, yes. Okay, and I found this quote in an article and I thought it was quite good. A good history teacher needs to found his pedagogy on compassion and humanity to transcend apartheid legacies of inequality and segregation. Okay, we are not going to move forward if there is bitterness and anger in our country. And it is on us as history teachers to teach history in a way that doesn't foster bitterness in learners, but fosters peace and forgiveness and healing. Okay, we need to be well equipped to teach both the subject content and language skills, because in our South African context, many of the learners are second language English speakers, and we need to be able to teach language skills at the same time as teaching our subject of history. All right, the ideal history teacher in a technological world. Firstly, we need to have a basic understanding of how to use technology. Okay, we need to be comfortable with operating technology and using it in the classroom. Okay, we must be wise about the use of technology in our classroom, when we use it, how often, and by whom it is used. Are we using it, or are we allowing our students to work on their phones? We wouldn't be able to monitor that every single student is doing what we've asked them to do on their phone. They could be doing something else and we don't know. So you just need to be wise about the use of technology in your classroom and have strict boundaries around it. And also not become dependent on it as well, because our teaching context may change, and if we are teaching in a public school or rural school, we won't have access to that level of technology there. Okay, we need to teach learners to be critical about online sources. Okay, they need to check the validity of the sources that they are using for their research assignments and things like that. They need to be digitally intelligent. Okay, we need to equip them and give them tools on how to check sources. Okay, there are websites where they can check the where a source comes from, who it's funded by, things like that. Okay, and we need to teach them that not all the information they find is on the internet should be believed. Okay, we need to have a critical eye when searching the net, and that is what we need to equip our students to do as well. Okay, so thank you for your time. Thank you for just listening on how to be an ideal history teacher, and I hope it has been helpful. Please enjoy your day. Thank you.